Welcome back. Welcome back. This is our holiday edition of Three Man Booth. I'm Dan Salem, Phil and Bud. Welcome. Happy holidays.
We were joking before about you wearing your winter hat in Boston. You should have been wearing a Santa hat.
Oh, I need one that fits my head.
Well,
So,
I don't
yeah.
remember you having an abnormally large head. So,
No, I have a female Santa hat at home. So I
um,
need to get a male version. But that's a good point. I'll have to put it on my list.
we got to think of these things pre-show next time.
Yes, yes. Well, it's got the trim, and since it's blue for the Giants, even
There
though
you
I'm a
go.
Jets fan,
Along with the harpoon hoodie, perfect.
yes. So
So,
both
man,
both
what do
our
you want to
teams
start with?
are officially over, so we can touch on them real quick. But I think we should really talk about the meat of who's actually competing for anything. I don't know. And the Pro Bowl was announced, so we got a lot. We got a lot of fodder.
Three Jets made it.
Yeah.
Myers, Roberts, and Jamal Adams. No surprises there.
No, I was real happy for Adams. He earned it. And then
But he's been their best player all year.
absolutely, and the same with Barkley, who made it for the Giants, which was nice to see.
Yeah, I think that was probably to no one's surprise either. I mean, he basically has Rookie of the Year locked up too. I don't think there's anyone that even challenges him.
So do we get to like put a notch on our belt because the Jets had more Pro Bowlers than the Patriots?
You certainly could.
I don't even know if Tom Brady earned it, but they gave it to him.
They're falling apart. I think they've lost.
2 in a row.
Bless you. When was the last time they lost 2 games in December?
Oh.
Not only that, they looked slow and they looked old.
And he was making some throws against Pittsburgh. I mean, that you would not normally see. I mean, that one that he got intercepted in the red zone. I mean, he was throwing off of his back foot like completely.
So like they don't have a running game like they did last year with Dion Lewis to rely upon, and
he's not even. Dion Lewis is obviously on Tennessee.
Yeah.
But James White isn't even getting on the field anymore. They're running everything through Sonny Michel.
And Burkhead's back.
Yeah, Burkhead's back. So
it's not working. I don't know. I agree. Well, and Pittsburgh I don't think is great either. And they could that was like a stalemate game between two old teams. I don't know.
Well, but Pittsburgh needed to win that game. They absolutely if they lost, they were done. They had to win that game.
And they get James Conner back this week, right? Maybe.
Well, we don't know yet. It's actually still. I was looking at the fantasy stuff because we'll get into that in a few minutes. But James Conner has a 0 next to his name currently. He didn't have that earlier this morning. So I think that's because he actually didn't practice today, which probably isn't anyone's surprise. Most of these guys don't practice on Wednesdays.
No, but Wednesday's the make or break day. You think you'd like to see him show up and do some laps or something?
They need him. They need him.
Actually, it said I'll find it real quick. It actually said something about if he walks, he's fine, but when he tries to run, that's when it's not 100%. So.
Well, that's bad.
He said I guess I was reading it was a high ankle sprain, or it was an ankle sprain. Whether it's a high grade or a low grade ankle sprain, I don't know. But
Crowell from the Jets played through one all season and eventually had to go out with it.
I mean, there's different levels of them. If you get the grade 2 or whatever it is, you're out for like 6 weeks. It's that bad.
They put Crowell on IR because obviously the season was lost anyway, and he was literally a non-factor in any game that he was playing. Other than
he wasn't the same player since he got hurt. So I mean, even though he was playing through it, it didn't really do anybody any good.
No. I mean, along with that Patriots Pittsburgh game, I mean, I don't know if you were still in fantasy, Dan, but my God, I don't remember a week in the NFL where any of the studs just did not show up. That was incredible.
We have a consolation bracket, so I was participating. I had the worst week of the year that I've had.
Oh, everybody did.
Yeah.
If you advanced, you got lucky, or your team was just that much stacked that you could withstand it. I mean, Barkley got me nothing. I got a 0 from Cameron Braid. I got nothing from Rojas. I mean,
I was facing DeAndre Hopkins, who had 30 points.
Well, he's like the lone guy Matt Ryan threw for like 250 and 2, and he was considered number 1 quarterback last week. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold had the best QBR out of any qualifying quarterbacks last week.
Yeah.
So, let's touch on that for a second, because even though the Jets lost, I truly enjoyed watching that football game, knowing how good Houston is this season. That was a fun game.
But think about it as a Jet fan, Dan, right? So, and we talked about this on our podcast that we did last night.
Yeah.
If you just put some pieces around this quarterback, he can be good. Yeah. He has the potential. He can make the throws. He's when you give him time. I mean,
he made Robbie Anderson look really good again. Like Robbie Anderson looked like the player I remembered.
Yeah, and Robbie Anderson, the last play, hits his hands and he drops it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I know. I
But
mean,
like you said, it was a fun game to watch. It's not like they were getting buried the whole game. It was actually you were into it. It was a standalone game on Saturday, and everybody saw it because
yeah.
there was nothing else going on
And I
that day.
hung out with another friend of mine on Sunday who happens to be a Jets fan. He was like, he had a smile on his face. I enjoyed that game. It's like one of the few games you can say that about the season, besides week 1, I think. So,
right. And then yesterday we're doing the podcast, and we're optimistic that maybe the Jets can be competitive this Sunday against Green Bay, because I'm going to the game, and then all of a sudden it comes out today Aaron Rodgers is gonna play. So
yeah,
Thank God. I need him. I need Devontae Adams.
he's not 100% though. So I mean, I'm not sure that's a good thing.
he's got a pulled groin, but he says that he's a leader. He's gonna play.
He's playing.
So how about this?
I don't know too many leaders that bitch complain as much as Aaron Rodgers.
Right. So do you think this is like a consecutive start streak or something for him? Because maybe he only plays a quarter. Their season.
No, I don't think he currently has one because did he play every game this year?
No, he.
Oh.
No,
I think he missed one.
All last year.
Or does he have a bonus in play if he doesn't miss a certain number of games? I'm like,
maybe I'm not sure.
You know what? Honestly, someone brought that up today. If a lot of these players should have some sort of that bonus clause in their contract, because how many of these guys are taking off week 16 and week 17 without being injured? I mean, you don't want the last 2 weeks, obviously, historically, they're awful football because all these guys are playing. They're playing half speed. They don't want to get hurt. They're not playing at all. And it's just bad football. So if you put a whole bunch of clauses in these guys' contracts that says you need to play X number of games, it makes the product better.
So who saw the Jets and Packers having the same record basically at this point of the season?
The Packers, they would have the same record as the Jets if not for that tie.
Yeah.
What are the Packers? 4-8-1?
4-8-1, yeah.
4-9-1. No, they got to be 4-9-1. Or are they 5-8-1?
No, I think they're 4. We'll have to look it up.
4-9, I think. Right. Anyways, so yeah, no, it's garbage football. But I got to come back because I specifically remember, Bud, you ate up the whole Mike McCarthy conversation for the Jets coaching staff, and ESPN had a featured article about Reece Simini saying Mike McCarthy should be the top of their list for this year. And I read it, and I mean, it was well written.
5-8-1.
He pretty much glossed 5-8-1. Okay, he glossed right over the fact that he had an uninventive play calling history.
I wouldn't. And this is just me. I wouldn't go after him. I think that you need to look at the teams that are being successful in the league right now. The Rams and. I just think that
it made me laugh when I saw that headline. I had to read it.
Like, let's say the Rams are having a good season. The Bears are having a good season. The Chargers. I mean, these are all head coaches that are haven't been there forever. I guess the exception is Sean Payton down in. But every other team is new blood.
Well, McCarthy was the headline grabber. I think the point of his article was the Jets need a proven coach that's offensive minded and good with quarterbacks. They don't want to bring. He doesn't want them to bring in a rookie head coach again, like they've done 4 times in a row, basically.
I don't mind that philosophy. I'm just not sold on Mike McCarthy. That's all.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't want defense. No more defense.
Well, I mean, as well as I do. I mean, this ownership will find a way to screw it up. They have played better the last few weeks.
Right.
And my biggest fear is that this ownership is going to say, let's give this guy one more year. I mean, I don't think that that's going to happen.
I can't imagine.
I mean, this team at best is going to go 5-11, and they probably won't. They'll probably go 4-12. And the way that the draft sits right now, I think they have the 3rd pick.
Yeah, they could shoot up to 1, but they got 3 right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, listen, it would be great if they went to 1, because I would go right for Nick Bosa and get him. They need outside pressure on the defensive line. I mean, they need to get a pass rush. And the pass rush has been better this year than I think people expected. But if you can solidify those 2 ends and put Leonard Williams on one side and then a solid defensive end on the other, I mean, I'm not saying that they're the Los Angeles Rams defensive line.
No, but with Jamal Adams there too, I mean, that's a blitz you don't want to see coming. I agree. So
in free agency, you put all your money in the free agency, and you find maybe another faster linebacker. Is Darren Lee really the guy? And then you get a running back, you get some wide receivers, you get some offensive line help. Build this offense around this quarterback who can finally do something, who has shown potential. I think maybe that's what they have to do.
Yeah, we're on the same page with that plan. I'm feeling good about the Jets because there is like a plan. Now, ownership is known to screw things up. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the offseason. Phil, are you feeling good about the Giants as the season ends here? They kind of did a similar thing to the Jets here and finishing strong.
Right. So I'm encouraged that they decided to win. Well, now it's 5 out of the last 7, but at least 4 out of the last 7. At least at some point in the year, they just didn't give up. Yes, it's encouraging because we've been saying this for 2 years that we all know the offensive line has sucked. And as I've been saying, you just need a line that's competent. They don't need to be the best. Just don't suck. Just be competent. And we all saw what could happen in the second half, beginning of the second half of the season. Where they're putting up 30 and 40 points a game.
It makes you wonder why they didn't change the offensive line earlier, because the offensive line has been better the last 5 or 6 weeks, and that's when they really revamped the whole entire thing.
Yeah.
Well, some of it was by necessity because the center got hurt, and I think they signed a guard from I don't even remember. So they've been tinkering with this all year, and it finally looks like they got a decent combination. Now, last week, I mean, you can just throw it out because it's like they didn't even show up. And I said it to Bud yesterday, you can only play without Beckham for so long. They got away with it in Washington. It wasn't going to – I mean, Tennessee's not a great team, but they're a lot better defense. And they just stacked the box. This is what I've been saying so many times against Dallas before they got Cooper. You stack the box in Zeke, and they were going nowhere, absolutely nowhere. And that's what happened at Barkley. He's been elusive, and it's hard for guys to tackle him. It wasn't hard on Sunday. He finally just had his one. If he has one bad game all year and 15 great ones, you'll take it. That was his bad game.
Yeah. So that was you laid the groundwork for a nice segue into a playoff conversation. But I don't want to miss the big quarterback question in the room for the Giants real quick, because do you want to trade up in the draft or just like try to go after Teddy Bridgewater or something? What do you want as a fan?
I mean, unless again, I don't know if you've heard anything different, but there is nobody coming out in the draft that's must have. There is nobody that's even a deal. Like there's a couple names I've heard, but none of these guys are as touted as the 4 that came out last year.
Right.
Now, maybe that happens maybe that changes during the college football playoff. Maybe someone emerges. Who knows? But now there isn't that guy. And at the moment, the plan is, as far as I know, we're going to bring back Eli again for at the moment. Now, who's out there? There's nobody out. Bridgewater, yes. Flacco's going to be out there. You don't want Flacco. The list of names just keep churning year after year. There's nobody out there. There's no Cousins out there this year. There's no Jimmy G out there this year. Like, he got traded, but there's nobody there.
Nick Foles, I mean, looks somewhat appealing again too. But I agree. I mean,
but Nick Foles is old too. It's not like he's a young up and coming quarterback. Yeah, he has experience. But
I mean, same with Fitzpatrick, McCown. I agree. These guys all need protection.
What about the kid from San Francisco?
Well, I mentioned him like about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Bethard?
No, Mullins.
Oh, Mullins. Oh, Bethard.
Because they have Garoppolo and they have C.J. Beathard behind Garoppolo, so they probably don't need a third quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible. I mentioned that about 4 or 5, 6 weeks ago after they played the Niners.
He certainly hasn't played terrible in San Francisco.
No, they beat the Seahawks this weekend.
Yeah. And they don't have any running game or the offensive line either. So
right. So I'd be okay with that. That's actually one of the names right now, maybe other than Bridgewater, but I think I'd rather have Mullins. He's probably going to be a hell of a lot cheaper, and he's younger. So and he has 2 good knees.
And even if you bring Eli back for 1 more year and you can get him, he's proving himself to be a viable, at least backup. And then maybe you can nurture and kind of grow him, and then maybe he can take over the realm and maybe some point next season or the following. He's not going to be there past next year, right?
No, next year's his last year contractually anyway.
Right. So I mean, I think it's pretty much understood that he's either going to get cut, which they're not going to want to do to the franchise quarterback. They're going to want him to go out on his high horse. They're not going to want him to just go over the curb. And then, they got to figure something out, because that's their, not that he's been the problem this year. Statistically, he's had one of his best years of his career.
Right.
But how much further can you go with a 38, 39-year-old quarterback?
Even Drew Brees is starting to show, his age, because he was the MVP for the first 12, 13 weeks of the year. In the last 3, he's been been,
How
average at best.
Yeah, I mean, how many more years is Breeze under contract?
I think he's got one more year too. I think he's
One.
next year.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints win the Super Bowl, he goes out on top.
I would agree. So
Yeah.
I said this about Tom Brady 2 years ago, and he kept coming back and kept coming back because he too looks like he's lost something at the end of the year now. I mean, I don't think they win it this year, but do you think he'd try? You think he would actually retire on top, or do you think he just keep?
I think you're starting to see the unraveling of the Patriots. I really do, and I think that's not just me as a Patriot hater. I just think that
they definitely lost something this season.
Yeah, and the defense has shown weaknesses at times. Gronkowski looks like an 80-year-old man running around. I mean, he can barely run. He runs like me. And I got a bum knee, a bad back, and I'm nowhere near athletic enough. So he doesn't look like he's any good. Their running game is suspect. Josh Gordon is good, but he's got butter hands. How many drops did he have on Sunday? 3 drops maybe?
Yeah.
So I just
So I mean, I personally don't see any way the Patriots win the AFC. Now they continuously surprise us in the playoffs, but I just don't see it happening, especially if it's not going to go through Foxborough.
No, they have to play the wild card game for the first time in like 5 years.
As of right now, they do. But I mean, they still, if they win,
one against the Jets,
right? So I mean, it's still feasible that they could still get the first round bye. Which do you know that they've had 8 years in a row that they've had a first round bye?
Wow.
Well, then I said 5, so 8. That's
it's
even.
It's 8 years in a row they've had a first round bye. I read it on ESPN just a little while ago. They've won.
Who do they play next week?
Won 16 AFC East championships in 18 years that he's been quarterback.
Who do the Patriots play next week?
I think they play Miami.
No, Buffalo. They're in Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo and the Jets.
Buffalo?
Is it in? I think it's in Buffalo. I could be wrong.
Okay, so hold on.
They're going to definitely lose one of these 2 games. I just don't.
They could lose that Buffalo game easily.
Yeah. So they got to play Buffalo.
Is it in Buffalo?
It's in Buffalo. No, it's home.
Oh,
it's home.
Never mind. Patriots going to win that game.
And then they have to play the Jets the last week of the year. Now, the interesting thing is that they have a 2-game lead over the Dolphins. So Miami has to play.
I hate the Dolphins.
Miami has to. Okay, so listen. Miami has to play Jacksonville, and Jacksonville is no good.
Nothing without Fournette, especially.
Okay, and then
ask Bud about Fournette later.
Oh
no, don't. And then they have to play Buffalo. So here's the kicker.
Wow.
If somehow the Patriots can lose these 2 games and Miami wins these 2 games.
Are they tied?
They're tied, but Miami owns the tiebreaker because they beat them. And I think Miami has a better divisional record than.
They'd both be 9-7. That would be nuts.
They would both. So I'm looking right now. They both would be 9-7.
So is this the craziest season for because
Miami would hold a better divisional record. They're 4-1 in the division. The Patriots are 3-1. So if both of the Patriots' last games,
they'd be 3. Yeah, that'd be nuts. Because I mean, I watched Miami play the 2 times they played the Jets, and I thought they just looked bad. I mean, the Jets are not a great team, and I just thought Miami looked like.
No. I totally agree.
Miami's different. Every week it's a different team with them. It's just a matter of, is it a good Miami week or a bad Miami week?
And it's the same with the Titans, who are in the same position they were last season. They're looking great. They look bad, too. Both of these teams. I mean, one of them is going to make the playoffs, possibly.
Well, both. If the playoffs started today, Miami would be in, right?
No, I think Baltimore still has that final wild card spot. And Pittsburgh's got the division right now.
Yeah, you're right. Baltimore would be in. And then don't sleep on Indianapolis. Indianapolis looked really good against Dallas.
Well, don't worry. They're going to beat the Giants this week, so they're going to have an extra game.
Ebron's going to score 3 friggin' touchdowns.
Yeah, it's too little too late for you, huh?
Bitter fantasy player. I'm pulling
my ears, dude.
Yeah. I'm pulling for my brother-in-law to win the championship this week in our league because he squeaked in over me. So
I'm going to get Bud a Philip Lindsay jersey for Christmas this year.
Oh, burn.
Oh.
I can't stand it.
He was not needless to say, he was not happy on Sunday.
Okay.
I drank plenty Sunday night.
Okay.
But at least one of us made the championship, so hopefully in 2 weeks I'll have the trophy sitting right here next to me.
So we got 3 locks, and let's continue with the AFC because the fantasy's fun and all, but nobody else.
No, I know. I just wanted to
nobody
crowbar that
cares
in.
about you, except you about your fantasy team. I do want to see this trophy. I do want to see this trophy the second day of the new year when we're back.
I hopefully will have it.
Who do you think the best team in the AFC is? I asked this to Phil yesterday.
Right now, it's the Chargers. They're playing like the dust because I was worried about Kansas City's defense all season, and against LA, it was not quite good enough. And
I can't believe they lost that game. Oh my God!
But the Chargers won without Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
Without who's the backup running back?
Eckler.
Eckler, and without Allen, because he went out in the first quarter, and they were able to put up 29 points against Kansas City and play outstanding defense.
I'm real happy for Philip Rivers. I hope that they at least make the AFC Championship game.
I hope this is the year because
he's fell short every single freaking season.
And every year he makes the playoffs, they seem like they're one and done.
Yeah. Well, I never forget. I think he was the quarterback of the Chargers when the Jets played the Chargers in the playoffs. And I was in LA watching that game, which since we're so close to San Diego at the time, they were still in San Diego, there was a ton of fans. And the Chargers fans were just on me. And then we won it at like a last-second field goal. And they had nothing to say.
Is that the one when
they won in overtime?
Yeah.
Is that the one where he hurt his knee and he still played, or was that a different year? I forget.
Oh.
It was one year Rivers had that bum knee and he took himself out of the game. I don't remember what year it was though.
Oh, I don't remember. So yeah, I definitely think that he's because of his aura. What?
I would say is the atmosphere over where you are in is it getting with the Rams playing well, with the Chargers playing well? I mean, what's the buzz over there?
It is a 100% Rams town.
Yeah.
There is no mention of the Chargers. There's no billboards in LA for the Chargers.
They showed a picture of that new stadium. That looks incredible.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's billboards all over LA for the Rams. You forget the LA Rams, were the LA Rams 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
The Chargers didn't make it all the way up the coast yet. Like I said, they're still in Carson playing, which is a good 30 to 40 minutes south of LA proper. So all the San Diego fans that were in LA are very bitter, and they've turned against their team.
I don't blame them. I'd be pissed too if my team left.
All the LA fans were either Raiders or Rams fans. So now you're asking them, like you said, to follow a new team. I'm excited because I always liked the Chargers. They were close enough. If they make noise in the playoffs, those fans are going to flip in a second. They'll still be happy for their team. But
do you think that we could see, and I asked this to Phil yesterday, do you think we could see an all Los Angeles Super Bowl?
It's definitely in play. It is definitely in play.
Well, the Rams better fix their defense, or they're not going to make it out of the conference championship.
Yeah, I think the Chargers, if they can get home field, because that's like key to them playing in the warm weather. Like they don't have much of it yet, but they have a chance to still steal the division from Kansas City. That I could see them coming out of the AFC. I'm not sure about the Rams right now coming out of the NFC, just because the defense in Chicago and
I said this yesterday to Bud. I think the Rams and the Rams and the Saints are just sleepwalking through the last couple of weeks. I mean, these two higher-powered offenses that were scoring 35 points a game are now reduced to 10 in the last few weeks.
I know. It's just such a dangerous thing to do because
I agree.
The last 4 or 5 Super Bowls have been won by a team that got hot the last month and a half and just blazed through the playoffs and never looked back.
Is that the Chicago Bears?
I don't know if they're getting hot. They've been good all year.
Well, but that Giants game was a wake-up call.
The way they're playing right now is a lot different than they were playing earlier in the year.
I agree. That might be them.
They are, and we talked about this yesterday, and I feel like there's just nobody was really talking about them, and they're 10-4, and they just clinched the AFC North, and against Kirk Cousins, against Aaron Rodgers, Mitchell Trubisky is the guy who's gonna end up winning that division, and I feel like nobody's talking about them. They got the best defense in the league. Their offense is steady as it goes. It has the potential to put up a lot of points. But their defense is just so good. I mean, is that the defense that's going to slow the Saints down or the Rams down, especially the way that their offenses are going right now?
Well, it's funny because last season, Wentz got so much buzz as a second-year quarterback, and Trubisky's getting so little. It's like, I don't know. I would give Chicago the edge right now only because defense wins in the playoffs. And the way the Saints looked the last 2 weeks, the blueprint to stop them is right there. Same with the Rams.
Right. So I said this to Bud yesterday.
Willie might be out, so I don't know.
I said this to Bud yesterday. To me, Nick Foles is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. Look at the body of work here.
Yeah, I mean, Wentz has got the youth, but
the Eagles looked like crap the middle of the season when Wentz was playing. Absolute garbage. Nick Foles steps in. It's like they flipped a switch. It's absolutely incredible. Carson Wentz threw to one person and one person only. Tight end. That was all he did. Now Foles comes in. He's throwing to Alshon Jeffrey. He's throwing all over the place.
Do you think he was ever fully recovered from his injury? Because
I said this too yesterday. He's like Tony Romo all over again. Bad back. I mean, that's the career path that Tony Romo had.
Yeah.
Couldn't win anything. Never won.
One time, and listen, you just don't like the other teams in the NFC East. You've given him basically a season and a half of work.
Yeah.
He's coming off of major reconstructive knee surgery, and you want me to whatever, make excuses for him, whatever.
I mean, they rushed him back this year. Like, he looked great last season, and he was not ready for the start of the season. I completely agree with you.
Let's see how he is next year before you anoint him Tony Romo.
I just think he's on that path.
So remember this. Ryan Fitzpatrick, without an off season to prepare with the Jets when they re-signed him for year 2, he wasn't coming off an injury. He looked like garbage. So Wentz had no off-season preparation with his team because he was recovering from his injury. I think that an entire off-season to prepare with your team really can make a huge difference, which is why a lot of these quarterbacks look so good year 2 because they've had a second off-season. We'll see what he does, but
could you imagine if Nick Foles runs the table again? Because it's possible. It is absolutely possible. I don't want to see it. Don't get me wrong, but it's possible.
It is definitely possible, but it's like the team stepped up again for him.
Yeah. I mean, did you think that the Eagles were 13-point underdogs against the Rams and they beat them outright in LA? Nobody thought that was going to happen.
So they have to play Houston, and then they have to play Washington. So you have to assume that the game against Washington is a win, right? Washington is not very good.
They should not. They should not beat the Texans, though.
So if they could win this week, they're going to be rooting hard for the Giants to beat Dallas.
Oh yeah.
Because if they end up with the same record, I think Philadelphia owns the tiebreaker, right? I
don't remember. It's possible. I forget how it goes.
Oh, that's it. That tiebreaker's messy, but
it's very messy.
Dallas has not looked good all year. They've been winning, but they have not been scoring many points. And last week was an epitome of that in their losing effort.
Nothing makes me happier than to see that. Nothing.
I don't want the Eagles to take it.
Here's the deal. They would both end up with the same divisional record. So what's the tiebreaker after division record?
Record? Common opponents, I think.
Conference. Yeah.
Is it conference?
Oh,
maybe it is conference.
Conference record, then common opponents.
So Dallas would win that.
Let's see what happens after this week because that could be. Dallas has to play Tampa Bay. Listen, is it Zach Martin? There's one of the linemen. I forget his name. He was out against Indianapolis, and look, they couldn't do anything. Indianapolis is a decent defense, but when one of those linemen go down for Dallas, that's been touted to be so great for so many years, there's a giant kink in that armor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dak Prescott's not winning them any football games either. So, I don't dislike him or anything, but he's not this great quarterback that everyone wants him to be.
So he's a 4th-round pick.
Zeke wins them football games, and when he doesn't have a good game, his team is nothing. 2 weeks ago, when Cooper had 3 touchdowns and everybody was thinking that Dak was finally coming out. I mean, you saw how that worked out, right?
Yeah, everybody was falling over themselves again. It's nauseating. But I was glad to see they came back down to earth.
So all this to me tells me we're going to have some exciting wild card games in the playoffs. But I'd be shocked if the teams that got the byes aren't the ones in the championship games. I mean, I guess there's 3 teams in each conference that actually look good. Because I mean, Seattle's looked good and then they look bad too, just like Dallas, just like the Eagles.
So right now the Chargers are the 5 seed, I think, right?
Yeah.
So it would have to go. All right, so the 3 and 6, 4 and 5.
But if the Chargers win one per game and Kansas City loses, LA moves up to the number 1 seed.
Well, but what I'm saying is they're going to end up meeting each other in the conference round, not the championship round.
Probably
just the way the bracket fills out.
Okay.
Well, no, they reseed, so never mind. That's untrue.
Yeah. I guess the exception here right now with Nick Foles coming onto the Eagles and they just won, they could be the team that quote gets hot again, and so then maybe they. I mean, I'm not on board. I feel like that was like a 1 week. Nick Foles is back. Yay.
Well, they caught lightning in a bottle once. You can't catch lightning in a bottle twice in consecutive years. It doesn't happen.
I don't think so.
It doesn't happen. So, all right. So the Jets winning this weekend?
Home game against the hobbled Packers? Yeah, I think so.
So it's interesting. Earlier in the week, the
Lions get to your head already.
They almost beat Houston.
Yeah, I guess. But they should have beaten Houston if it wasn't for DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
I mean, but if they couldn't control DeAndre Hopkins, you really think they're going to control Adams?
I'm not convinced Aaron Rodgers isn't hurt. And they got the, what's-his-face, Watson a lot last week. I mean, they knocked Rodgers on his back a couple times. He might be going out.
Yeah, they sacked him, 6 times in 3 quarters, I think, right?
I think he was the most sacked quarterback this season. Like, that's not sustainable. I don't know how he's.
So Aaron Rodgers potentially not playing this morning, to him playing this today, moved the line 4 points. The Jets were favored by 1 earlier this morning.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay.
Now they're +3.
Okay.
He moved the line 4 points. That's incredible. But
Listen,
Jets +3.
And I said this last night. I don't think they win, but I do think that it is competitive, and I think that they keep it close. But I just don't see how. I mean, I could be wrong.
What row are you sitting in?
Because I'm going to the game. I don't want to sit through. I don't want to sit through 4 quarters of them losing and then have to sit in an hour and a half of traffic to get out of the friggin' parking lot. Because then I got to listen to the post game on the radio, and then I'm going to want to drive my car in the Hudson.
You don't have to listen to the post game.
You don't have to. Dan's 100% right. You don't have to.
Yeah, but I have to.
Why would you want
you know that
after a loss?
So, but after the Giants game, Bob Papa and David Deal, they're outside live doing the post game show outside, by the 50-yard line there outside of MetLife Stadium. So, do they do the Jets post game live too, or no? Oh, you need to sit out there and watch it then. You might as well, instead of sitting in traffic, you might as well just watch the post game show live.
At least they used to. I don't know because it's cold.
They're heated. I think they're fine.
They may go to the SNY building, which is in Manhattan. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I have seen them outside the stadium in the post game. So, listen, chances are I'll be out of there after the 3rd quarter. I'll be in my car. I live 35 minutes from the stadium now, so I don't have. It's not going to take me super long to get home. So.
It takes me 3 hours to get home. It sucks.
No, well, you could have came to the game. We invited you.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't the day before Christmas. Hey, listen, I have a fantasy championship to win, so my ass is going to sit right in front of that couch over there, and it's not moving from 1 p.m. to 11:30 at night.
Good transition. We got a couple minutes left. Tell us about your championship since we're not in it.
Well, I don't have a championship yet, but so I'm playing the guy who took out Bud last week. It's probably one of the only other teams that I think is. I'm not sitting here saying I'm gonna win this. It's quite possible I lose, but it's going to be a good match.
So who do you need to play well? Who do you need to play well this week?
So the good thing is I have Mahomes going the very last game. So chances are I'm probably going to be behind. Hopefully I'm not too far behind because I got Mahomes going that night game. and I got Barkley and Kamara and Devontae Adams, Edelman, the Bears defense. I'm stacked. So I hopefully will win this.
I guess I was more asking a question. Some of these teams haven't been playing pretty well, and they all stunk last week. You're expecting them all to bounce back here. So
the only one that really screwed that had a bad game was Barkley. I mean, Edelman had an Edelman game. Devontae Adams had 150 yards receiving against the Bears, which I didn't expect that to happen. Mahomes had a so-so game, and Kamara had a so-so game. So, like, I actually dodged almost every bullet of everybody playing poorly.
Okay.
So we'll see. I wanna show you that trophy in 2 weeks. We're gonna.
and I'm projected to win the third place game by almost 35 points. So my team just had a really off week. I mean, if my team showed up, I would have beaten Jeremy. But
yeah,
such is life. Yeah.
Such is life.
I was in that position as well, but yes.
So now I'm playing for $50.
I'm actually looking forward to it because I've been going hard since like June, so I need a break. I need a break from fantasy. So one way or another, it's over after Sunday. I need a break.
Okay, so you don't play fantasy baseball?
No. So I used to do fantasy basketball, which starts in October. So I was doing both football and that. It's too much. I can't.
I couldn't handle basketball. I play baseball, but it's a slog.
Tough. Yeah.
I played hockey, and it took me a little while to get used to it because you have to set your lineup like every day rather than football where you have to set it for like every week. So
that's
baseball's rotisserie. It's not even head to head, so it's a whole different format.
So just for some perspective, my brother plays a year-long fantasy game that consists of all 4 leagues.
I've heard of this.
Players of all 4. It's a dynasty league, and you can trade LeBron James for Saquon Barkley, and you win each championship, and it stacks up. Oh man.
Yeah, it's called like a fantasy league of leagues or something like that. I've heard of this concept, but you have to be engrossed in all 4 sports for the entire. It's too much.
It's intense. It's intense.
I'm looking forward to my break here.
Any final thoughts before we get cut off? I just say happy holidays to everybody and to you too.
Yeah, no. So enjoy your trip over there in Boston and Connecticut, and we'll.
Thank you. I'm staying
in a couple
warm.
Weeks. Yeah, stay warm. Yeah, don't lose your hat.
All right.
You're lucky it's actually not going to snow this week, so.
I am very lucky. Lucky.
Well, Bud's going to be sitting at the game freezing cold, so hopefully, has a nice warm beer.
Oh, hot toddy?
Yeah. All right, we'll talk to you next week.
Jets games, I drink Heineken Light. It's my marathon beer.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, in case anybody's looking for me in the parking lot.
Thanks for watching BuzzChomp.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Share.
Woo.